Guys, good morning. We are gonna make these books today. Just some stamped paperback books that you can set on the shelf. They look adorable right now with pumpkins or with the fun beads, but I think they make a really good addition to most decor. So you can do them in different colors, but again, I'm stuck on the white kick right now, so we're just gonna do these in white. So we went to our local recycle center and found, I think I got probably 45 or 50 of these. They're romance novels, so I obviously am not going to read them, but they're really the perfect size. They're a nice thickness to be able to use, so that's kind of what I was going for and trying to find books that were like that. I did pick up some books like this, more for decoration type books for the bookshelf. I tried to take one of these off, a hardcover, and you get these kind of odd lip on it when you do that, so they don't go really well together in the end for stacking or for setting up or stamping. It's much more rough edge and kind of a little bit harder to deal with, so I didn't think it worked really good to do any hardback books, but you can really pick up any size softback paperback books, and then we just go ahead and tear off the front and back cover. You really don't have to be too particular about tearing it off, because this you'll kind of paint a little bit. You can sand it if you want to get it a little bit of a rougher surface. It kind of depends on the book as to how this comes off, but all of them, I mean, you can tell these are all just a little bit different, but I still think they look good together. It's kind of just that rustic feel, and you can still stamp on them just fine. So it's up to you as to where you pull the papers off. These are kind of a little bit loose on the end, so I am going to take probably the top and bottom page off also. It's nice if you can get the top and bottom to not have a lot of words on them, because then you don't have to paint over quite as much. You wouldn't necessarily have to paint over it anyway. It's just because some of these are romance novels, I obviously want to cover up the verbiage on it wherever that's exposed. So yeah, I think we'll go with that. So I am a huge Pinterest fan, so I just went to Pinterest and got a whole bunch of quotes and just wrote them all down. So there's lots of good ones. Thankful, grateful, blessed, that's a good one for this time of year. Trick or treat is a good one to do with 3 books. Love grows here, This is us, Always better together, Hello fall, Apples, hayrides, and pumpkins. That's a really cute one. I've seen that one done in orange, where they painted the books orange and then done that on it. Or autumn leaves and pumpkins, please. There's tons of really cute sayings. I just go to inspirational quotes on Pinterest and wrote down a whole bunch of them that would work on 2 or 3 or 4 books. So once you get the covers torn off, I'm going to show you these right here. I did with this gesso. I think that's how you say it. I honestly don't know for sure, but I saw that you can get this at Walmart now. So I was getting it at Michael's, but you can get it at Walmart, and if you can hear it has that rough texture on it when you paint it with that first, and I kind of like that. I also like that it's a little bit lighter. I tried to do one with just the paint, so just any of your acrylic paints, and it's a really bright white, and I didn't like that as much. I kind of liked the neutral white first, and then I went back over it with the white paint. So I'll show you this one here that has the gesso on it. Then I can just add a little bit of white paint to that and brighten it up and cover up the words a little bit, but it still has a little bit of that rustic feel to it. So in the end, my opinion was the gesso was the best, and then to add the white paint over. But if you just want to, purchase the really cheap paint and do them in white, I think that looks really good too. Or if you're doing the orange books or the black books, I've seen them done in black too with white stamps on them. That looks really cool. So once it's got the gesso on it, it's really easy just to go over it with the paint and cover up the words so you can't quite read them. Also, on those hardback books that I didn't like taking the cover off of, you could, where there's words that are raised words on it, just sand this down a little bit and then paint these in whatever color you want. A pretty teal color, or you can go with the fall colors on that one too and do them in an orange. Or try not to ever come away from it because I don't want to grab that edge and pull that edge out away from it. So I usually do the spine first and then work it out that way. Once that dries and once I get the back side, actually on the ones where you're stacking them, you can just paint the top edge and the very bottom edge, you know, if that's the book you're stacking. So there's really no reason to paint everywhere in between. And then once I pick which 3 books I want to put together and I tie them together with the jute, then I can come back in and soften up the edges like this, just to blend where there's some different coloring. Or here too, you can tell that one book is much more yellow than the other 2. So I just paint that to kind of blend once you get them put together. If you do end up with some of your pages sticking like this, I just recommend that you take a little bit of paint, or your gesso when you're on that stage too. Put it on that page that's lifting up a little bit, and then paint it back down, and then paint it back down this way. And then, you know, set your paint can, set something heavy on it. It'll press it down and hold it. It'll seal it enough until you can get that final coat of paint on the edges. And then your jute will hold it all together too. So once you get your books kind of painted and ready to go, on this one I wanted to do a thicker book because I wanted to do Tessa and Christopher on it. That's our kids' names, and I've seen them done with the kids' names and dates, which I really liked, but for today we're just going to go with the names on the bottom. These stamps, Hobby Lobby $5.99 for the entire stamp set. Last week I think they were 40% off, so if you wait until they do their 40% off again, you can get a really good deal on the stamps. These were the perfect size, I thought, for the little books. They just worked really well on that small spine. But then I got the clear stamps and this stamp block so that for some of the larger books I could put the word down and it keeps it nice and straight for me, and then when I go to put it on I can tell. The hardest part for me was determining, you see on this one that page is kind of lifting. I'm going to go ahead and just take that page off, and that'll mean we're going to have to paint that top page on there, but I'd rather have that than have it fall apart when we get it there, or get it together, or flip the book over. That works. The hardest part for me was when I wanted to go to line them up, making sure that that final letter was the same on both of them, because you really kind of want that to line up. So if I have the one word here, the next word I'm going to want to make sure that it ends here too. So we have Tessa and Christopher. Christopher's going to be a whole lot longer, so I can just line those final 2 letters up here, and they're in alignment there. So yeah, here's Tessa. I got that all laid out already. And we'll go ahead and just stamp it. I actually don't think I'm going to paint those books. I really like the way that they look all by themselves, and I don't mind that they're not a bright white. Just kind of move the stamp around just a little bit, make sure you get it everywhere, and there you go. That's all there is to the stamping. That's pretty simple. On stamps, a tip that my sister taught me a long time ago to clean them afterwards was she just grabbed wipes, or had wipes handy. And then after you stamp, you can clean your stamps up with that and get the ink off right away. Don't necessarily have to be right next to a sink that way, but you can still get them cleaned up. These clear stamps actually work a lot better than I thought they would. I didn't know how well they would stick to that block or stay on there, but they're pretty sticky. They stay on there pretty well. So I'll come back later and add Christopher. I think it'll take a while to spell that out. But on these, we'll go ahead and do a small one with Trick or Treat with these small stamps. Actually, I'm gonna do This Is Us. It is September and that series should be starting again soon. Yay! We have a DVD player that we played Hulu on before, but it is not, it didn't update to play Hulu on it now, so we had to purchase another way to stream Hulu on our TV so we could get This Is Us, because we obviously don't watch it at 7 o'clock. We're late nighters, we stay up late, so I need a U. There's a U. Okay. Let's go with This Is Us for these. Sometimes you can tell on these books that the angle of them is a little bit different. Like if you actually put this one upside down, it aims back that way, and you really don't want that. You want it to be so you're gonna see the words if you set them like this. If you put them upright, it really doesn't matter too much, but I think they're kind of cute, especially if you have one, you know, 3 like this, and then you were to put 3 like this, and maybe set your pumpkin right here. It's really cute fall decor to put them together too. So, all right, here we go. This Is Us. And I work backwards. So wherever I want that last letter to start, that's what we're gonna start with. So they line up. And in my head, I'm saying it 3 or 4 different times to try to make sure I'm spelling it correctly. There you go. This Is Us. And then jute. Like I said, there's jute always in our house. I did notice that I tied it too high on one of them, and it sits funny. So I try to have a little bit of the rope right in the center of the books too, so it doesn't sit uneven when it's sitting on a counter or a table or whatever. There you go. That's all there is to it. Pretty simple project and really inexpensive. If you can find books, save some books from your recycle center getting thrown away, or a lot of times the local library will be selling books that they're just trying to get rid of. But thanks guys for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Happy Wednesday.